afternoon, everyone. I am Bella for Planet Pathlings, and I am very happy to be back and to start our new year. This week we are defining the question of how our new year of Samhain is different from our new year of regular society. And to me, I don't find that it is too much in conflict, because Samhain to me is as much about endings as it is about beginnings. And the first thing that we do, if we follow a goddess type tradition or an earth-based religion, or we follow the seasons in any way, Samhain is a time of going inward. Everything is retreating back into Mother Earth. And that is exactly what happens at that time for me. I start my inner reflections. I start going inward, just like the plant life is going inward into the earth. At that time, Mother Earth is not pregnant yet. She is still clearing and cleansing from the last harvest or her last basic pregnancy. So it is more about the inward work, and then after you do the inward work, which lasts from basically season to season, Yule begins the first spark of life. It is the first spark of the sun. It is the first divine spark of the masculine coming back in. So to me, it is not the birth of the sun, because the sun is at its very, very weakest and is starting its just very much descent. It's still a more dark side than a light side, even though Yule represents the first bringing back of the light, the hope of the light. So it is a time of conception, and Mother Earth is pregnant with all the possibilities of the future. And that to me is what Yule starts to represent, as still a season of the dark time, but being pregnant to bring forth in spring the new birth and the new regeneration of everything. Mother Earth is starting to work towards the bringing it back, but Imbolc and Candlemas will be a stronger bringing into the light. It is the expecting an impending birth, to where the sun is starting to become and actually birthed into our life again. Right now we still have many months of dark at this hemisphere. Of course, if you were in Australia or someplace else on the lower, the other part of the hemisphere, you would be having, this would be a total opposite. The sun is at its peak. So to me, there is no contradiction. The inner reflections, the inner work is reflecting on the old year, looking back at what your successes were, what your not so great successes were, even maybe your failures. Looking back on the lessons, the people that you've lost, the new ones that have come into your life, and you're kind of assessing where you want to go already for the new year, and that is the preparatory work. That is Samhain to me. But the minute that the sun hits Yule and it starts that spark forward, it's about taking it from within and taking it in an outward action. So one is a passive inner reflection, and one is going to be the the outward action that you're taking from those many weeks of the dark time, basically. We'll start to prepare and look forward to the new spring season. It's a time of anticipation, preparation, actually starting the activity that you want to bring forth in your new year. So to me, that's the basic difference between Samhain as the witch's new year and the new year that we have in our traditional society. There really isn't a contradiction there, even though it might sound like there is. It's just that there's different stages of the ongoing cycle. And so, like I said, I am now moving into action and putting forth, that's what those resolutions are about, that's what all of that hard work, you're starting to drive forth. The resolutions come from your inner reflection from Samhain till Yule, and then you literally write it out basically on paper, kind of, and I'm using that as a metaphor because not everybody writes it out literally, but you kind of, from all of your inner work that you've been doing, you come up with areas that you know you're lacking and that you want to put forth effort for the new year. The new year marks the time where you actually start placing that into action. And a lot of people don't have a whole lot of success in January. I am in a field where if you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to get on a health kick, if you're trying to start exercise regimens, I see it a lot where January is the month of, you've got it into place, but now you're trying to work out the details. And a lot of people give up at this time because they're not successful. I don't necessarily think January has to be successful. It is just your preparatory work. You know where you want to go, and the 2nd of February is a stronger action because the sun has started growing in power and is starting to lend you back your personal ego power, because that's what the sun represents in astrology as well too. The masculine is the driving force, but he's still weak. He's still trying to grow. So it's kind of like, don't beat yourself up in January for what you haven't accomplished. Just work with it and take the baby steps, and then as the sun grows stronger and stronger, you will grow stronger and stronger if you keep it within the cycle. And to me, that is what the New Year's resolution is about. Is about our new growth for the new year. And it starts in around Yule, basically. But most people, through all the festivities, don't start to think about it until the new year. And now, this is where we are. This is a time of your planning and not just planning, but actual doing concrete steps to ensure what you're planning to do for this new year. And to me, that is the difference. What I do in the house is I'm already culling and clearing and doing all the different stuff that has accumulated. I don't call it spring cleaning yet because I'm not necessarily washing floors and windows and stuff like that. But I am starting to re-up my personal protection around my house. I'm starting to clear clutter and find places that have grown stagnant in my house. I'm trying to make room for new growth. And that clearing process makes, if you're doing it slowly as each season comes along, it makes the process of the deep spring cleaning much easier because you've already done the clutter clearing. And now it's just a matter of the once over of being able to throw open your windows, and actually clean the dirt off the windows and the window seals, and put more floor washes down and clear that, and just open up the house from when it's been all locked away for the winter months. So these are the kind of things that I start to do now in this type of season. Right now I am starting a new business, and I'm still where I am in my work process, but I am actively now working in a more concrete level that way. Partnership with some really great people, and we're just moving forward. We're just, the wheel turns, and every season the wheel is going to continue to turn. I do clear my altars at this time, but I clear my altars actually every 6 weeks to refresh and revamp them for each turning of the wheel. Basically, it kind of is a marker point for me, just to make sure that dust and ash and things that collect on your altar gets taken care of as a sign of respect. But I don't do that, I do that many times a year. I don't do it just, it's not because it's the new year that I'm doing that. I'm doing that every 6 weeks. And sooner if need be, just depends on the condition, how much work I've done, how much ash, candle wax, all the different stuff that builds up. And certain seasons are dustier than others in South Texas because of lack of rainfall at times and things. So you just go with it. What needs to be done, you take care of. And like I said, that doesn't really mean about Yule or the new year. That just is a sign of respect, as much for yourself as your deities as well too, because I don't like to go to an altar that is a little unkempt. I like to clear it. I don't mind a working altar. A working altar is different, but when you see dirt, that's something different. When your statues or your just various items that you might have on your altar start getting covered in dust, it's time to take a little respect and do a cleansing and a clearing on the things that you're using on a regular basis. It'll make you feel better, and it'll show respect to any deity that you might have. And if you don't celebrate or worship or work with a deity on a regular basis, but just the power of the universe, everything else, to show respect is just one of the things that you should be doing on a regular basis. So that's really all I have to say. I don't think that it can be any more clear than candle moss or in bulk. To me, that's when we're really cheering on the light. I think that's the impending birth. That's when we start. It is the time of the ewes. It is the letting of the milk, but still not quite spring for most of the country. And I should say the northern hemisphere. No, the southern hemisphere, of course, is the total opposite. They're when we're having Yule, they're having midsummer. When we're having, they have things at different times, but they do have a new year. So it would be interesting to hear from people who live in the southern hemisphere, since New Year's is celebrated all over the world. Some places have different markers for what the new year is. I'd be interested in hearing what the people who live in the southern hemisphere, what they do at this time. Is it a new year for them? I know Australia celebrates the new year because the ball drops there. But what do you do? How do you assimilate the new year in the turning of the wheel in your pagan path? I would really love to hear from some of my friends in Australia on that. That would be a very interesting twist to hear. But anyway, that's all I have for the Planet Pathlings today, and I'm looking forward to the great new season that we have coming up. And y'all have a very blessed day. Thanks. Bye.